You're listening to the only podcast that admits they might know what they are talking about.
I hope everyone has a ball.
This is We Might Know Sports with Stefan.
Or I'll just go down there and punch him in the face and call it a day.
Kevin. Gonzaga loses one game and you're threatening him every podcast now. And Corey.
No, he starts working out. Now he's a tough guy.
I am a tough guy.
Oh, he's got that testosterone flowing.
If anybody wants to listen to my podcast on fitness, fit this whole pizza in my mouth.
All right, we are live for episode 26. Stefan, have you started that podcast yet?
What podcast? Oh, the fitness whole pizza in my mouth podcast?
Yeah.
Not right now. I'm on a strict no pizza diet right now, so it's going to have to be postponed for a little bit.
No carbs?
Nope.
How's your weekend, Corey? We didn't do exactly the greatest picking fights, but we'll get to that in a little bit.
Didn't do that well picking NASCAR either, but
We'll get to that shortly.
I thought you
after
picked very
a
well,
couple
Corey.
announcements. I have a couple programming announcements. In fact, so I should probably hit the record button. So we're recording this live. That way anything happens. So let's get that going. Also, you guys don't know this. Our listeners don't know this because I've been working secretly. We actually have a version of this audio version that is soon to be available on iTunes. And by soon as iTunes approves it, I found a website that hosts it and we don't have to pay for it. Yay.
Nice.
And I don't have to delete it every other week. So every fourth episode I'll have to delete. So episode 25 is up right now. This episode will be up later, probably either tonight or tomorrow. And I will provide a link so you can subscribe and like on iTunes.
Ooh. We're getting fancy now.
Yeah, so fancy that we're going to have our own award show next week called The Nobodies. I think we're going to celebrate the greatest losers. You know, no one recognizes the little team, so we're going to go with the best losers of the year since the ESPYs are happening on Wednesday, I believe. And I think that's it for programming notes. You guys have any programming notes for me?
nope. I'm ready for the nobodies. I got all my picks.
Are you going to share these picks with me, or am I going to be going in cold?
Put one of them on there. I'll start updating them.
Okay. Stefan, are you going to do some homework?
Nah.
Okay. All right. So we're going to change up our format a little bit. Usually we have our main story. We're going to jump into NASCAR. Corey, did you watch the race? I have a couple questions for you, even though I ended up doing better than both of you. But I do have questions.
I saw the end.
Why did they go into overtime? What is overtime in NASCAR? First, that's my first question. And second of all, why?
There's an overtime if the last 3 laps aren't available. Like if they're on a caution, the final 3 have to be on a green or a checkered flag. You got to be able to go. So that's why they were continuing.
So instead of basically stopping the race, because didn't they used to do that where they'd stop it until everything was cleaned up?
If it was a red flag at the very end, then the race would be stopped. Yeah,
Okay.
they changed that.
So it's not
And it would
really
be over.
overtime.
Whoever was wherever. They're trying to make them race it out, which I kind of like, actually.
Yeah, I like that. I was just curious. I was just like, I was closing down and I look up at the TV and I'm like, why does it say overtime? Like, the hell is overtime in racing? Like, it's not really overtime. It's just laps to be finished that aren't
Just
under
finding a
caution.
real winner.
Yeah.
Were you pulling a Donovan McNabb and you didn't know that there was an overtime?
Some of the drivers probably don't.
Corey, what exactly happened Saturday night, actually, in Kentucky?
Well, there was an accident right out the gate involving Brad Keselowski, who was the driver that I took in our fantasy. So that didn't help me out too much. And then there was a bigger wreck later. Brad just, a tire or something went. Later, there was an accident between Casey Kane and Trevor Bayne, and that took out a few people. Then from there on out, it was kind of a boring race because Truex completed a sweep for the second time this year, winning all stages. So he was pretty dominant that race.
All right, and I picked Hamlin, who came in 4th or 7th. I can't remember. I got confused with this whole point situation that happened because when the race ended, he finished in 7th with 33 points, according to my app. And then Stefan was a good sport for a change and pointed out that I actually got 40 with Hamlin, so can't remember. Blaney was Stefan's pick. That bumps him up to a cool 400 points in our standings, giving him good enough for second place over Corey, who is now in third at 391 with Keselowski's 1-point performance. I took my 6th win of the year and am holding steady at 448 points.
Does that give you more wins than me now?
No.
You guys are tied.
We're
right?
tied at 6.
So that means I'm due for a win. Tie it all back up.
Going into
Denny Hamlin came in 4th, just to let people know, and Ryan Blaney came in 10th. And we don't need to know where Keselowski came in.
All right, they are heading to New Hampshire this weekend, this Sunday. Any picks? I have mine in mind, but I'll let you guys shoot first.
I have mine ready. I'm taking Austin Dillon. It's a short track, so you need somebody that's good with the pedals, good footwork. It's only a mile. It's Loudon in New Hampshire.
Apparently, I already picked my pick, so I gotta look real quick here.
Good
All right.
research, Kevin.
I got another one. All right. I am going with Logano. No, damn it. I already picked him. All right.
Jesus.
Stefan, you go.
I'm going with Harvick.
I will choose Allmendinger because I haven't picked him yet.
Hope this is your week of 1 point. Let's also point out that Corey's now has 2 1-pointers.
Let's also point out that's why I'm in dead last.
But not even by that much.
All right. So
8 races to go, too, so maybe I can catch up.
what's the New Hampshire's a short track, right?
Yeah, a mile.
Miles, so it's gonna be action packed, couple crashes here and there.
Should be. It's one of the more fun tracks.
All right, and we'll move to MLB. They are in All-Star break. Actually, I believe the Home Run Derby is going to be happening. If it hasn't already
Tonight.
started, it will be starting soon. I have no idea who's participating. Do you guys have a list?
I know some off the top of my head. I know Miguel Sano. I know Aaron Judge and Cody Bellinger, the 2 rookies. Giancarlo Stanton, the hometown, because it's in Miami. He plays for the Marlins. He's also the reigning champion.
Gary Sanchez.
I think there's 8, so I'm missing 4 more. Yeah, Sanchez.
I was literally just looking at them not too long ago.
All right. Well, I'll let you guys look that up, and I'll go over the standings real quick for a good intermission from that. I have Boston in first place over the Yankees in Tampa Bay, both 3.5 games back. That AL East is going to be fun to watch in the second half of the season. Cleveland ahead of Minnesota by 2.5, with Kansas City trailing by 3. West being dominated by Houston Astros, as we've stated in other podcasts, still keeping that trend going. Washington Nationals ahead of the Atlanta Braves by 9.5 games in the NL East. The Central, the Cubs are behind 5.5 games under, and they are 2 games under 500, so they are starting to slip. There goes my World Series. And the West has the Los Angeles Dodgers 7.5 over the Arizona Diamondbacks. Was that enough vamping for you guys? Were you able to find it?
Yeah, I've got it.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, who is it?
So it's a bracket. There's 8 people. So
Okay.
Giancarlo Stanton versus Gary Sanchez. Mike Moustakas versus Miguel Santo. Or Sano, sorry. Aaron Judge versus Justin Bauer.
Is it AL versus NL? Do you know? Or is it AL versus AL and they're going to meet first in the championship as AL versus NL?
Well, Gary Sanchez is AL because he's Yankees. Aaron Judge is Yankees, so they're on different sides of the bracket. So I don't think it has anything to do with.
I was just curious of how they had it set up.
I mean, they just rank them. I think it looks like.
I wonder if it's by how many homers they have. I don't know.
Uh,
I don't think it is because I think Aaron Judge has the most.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they're probably just giving Stanton it because he's at home and he was last year's
He's
champ.
the champ. Yeah.
The champ.
I wonder if it's random draw for the rest of them.
No, I think it's pretty. Like I was looking at all their home runs earlier, and it was pretty close to. It was going right down the line of. Yeah. So like, Stan has 26, Judge has 30, and then the 3 is Bellinger. He has 25. 4 was Moustakas with 25. 5 was Sano with 21. 6 is Charlie Blackmon, I think. Yeah. 6 is Charlie Blackmon with 21. 7's Justin Bour with 20. And then Gary Sanchez with 13 home runs apparently gets in also. Pretty sure there's people in there that probably people in the MLB that probably have more than 13 home runs that might have.
I think last podcast we talked about that, right, Kevin? About how he just snuck in there.
Yeah, Tampa Bay player was a little pissed because he has 24 and he got snubbed over him. Or, I mean, Yankees are gonna be Yankees, I guess. Do we think Aaron Judge is going to win tonight?
No.
No? Well, all right then. Let's move on.
We don't want to make predictions on this.
Beer picks?
Beer picks? I
Yeah.
wasn't really paying attention to what Stefan was saying. All right, you guys can pick. Who do you
Here, I'll
think?
give you the order. It
We
goes,
should each get 2 because there's 8 of them. So 2
Yeah.
people, if those 2 win, it's a draw, I guess.
2 picks.
So we can't pick the same person. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Correct.
We're doing like a fantasy draft right now.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Draft it right now. You can have first
Is
pick. Go.
New fantasy draft.
It is.
All right, so I get to go number 1.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even going to take 1 or 2. I'm going to go with Cody Bellinger.
Who's picking 2?
Corey, you're more prepared, so you get to go.
I'm
too.
going to stick with my fantasy team and take Giancarlo Stanton. Although Stefan took one of my fantasy players right out the gate.
I'm going to go with Judge. A lot of people are picking him on ESPN. So
He's a big boy. He probably won't tire.
Well, I'll take the best available at Mike Moustakas.
this isn't a snake draft. I don't get to.
No. Fine. Do you want a snake draft? Go ahead.
No, it's fine. Go ahead,
Should
Corey.
I just take Gary Sanchez?
Go ahead, Corey.
I'll take Charlie Blackmon.
And I will pick Miguel Sano. Why not?
Well, he's the other one all the analysts are picking.
Yep. You guys left him open, so we'll see if I get +2, -1, -2. But speaking of plus and minuses, Stefan, did you pay attention to your fantasy baseball team at all this week?
Yeah, I won, didn't I?
No, you lost 5-4. Sorry. But you were down 10-0 at one point in the week, if that makes you feel better.
Yeah. That was like in the first couple of days, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think it was like Wednesday or Thursday. And then I stopped paying attention in the weekend. And Corey lost 7-3. So.
What do you mean? I lost 5-4. I didn't lose that bad.
I know. I said you were 10-0 at
I
one point.
I thought you said I lost. I thought you said I lost by 4.
No. And then Corey lost 7-3, which means I gained some ground on Corey. I am now 5.5 back from that first place spot. Stefan, 40 games behind Corey.
I'm just getting hot, dude.
All right.
He didn't even take his own player in the home run draft.
No.
He has Aaron
I'm sure
Judge.
he doesn't even know who he is. So.
I do know who I have. I just think you can't pick the guy that's got the most home runs. He's probably gonna fucking blow it.
All right. Let's move on to some NBA offseason moves. Have you guys been paying attention to this? Because I have some notes here. I'm going to quiz you. Do you believe news is breaking out of New York that Carmelo is going to be traded for a veteran point guard? The Knicks are currently shopping around for a veteran point guard and using him as bait, essentially. You think this is a good move for the Knicks?
Yeah, it's time to part ways with Carmelo and start rebuilding. I think Carmelo should go to the Cavs, but I don't think the Cavs have anything the Knicks are interested in. I heard the Knicks were interested in picking up Rondo, but I don't see a trade. I think Rondo's a free agent, so I don't know what the Knicks are going to do with Carmelo. I heard there's not a lot of people showing much interest as far as wanting to give the Knicks what they feel he's worth.
Or are they just trying to make up for what they lost with Carmelo?
I don't know.
The Knicks are just a bad organization. They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
They used to be good when they had Ewing, right?
Yeah. Been a long time since then.
James Harden signed a nice massive extension with the Houston Rockets, and by the time the contract that he just extended expires, he will have made over $318 million in his NBA career, which only Kevin Garnett and Kobe Bryant have made more money in their NBA careers. Do you think this is well justified, and do you think this is a smart move for Houston? His contract wasn't even up, was it? Close.
No, it wasn't up. They just didn't want to deal with what Indiana was dealing with, the whole Paul George situation, worrying about him leaving his last year and then them not getting anything. So they made sure to just lock him down, which is nowadays with the money they're throwing around, I guess it was worth it. I don't know. Houston isn't going to get any better without him, so.
Corey, you and I talked. Go ahead, Stephen.
I was going to say, how do they get better whenever you just throw all that money at him? I guess. I mean, how are they going to? You think just adding Chris Paul is going to push him over the edge? And how do you pay Chris Paul whenever his contract's up?
I don't know how you're going to pay Chris Paul. I'm sure they're just playing for the now. I think they have a chance at Golden State. Do I believe they have a chance? No. I think Golden State's going to win the next few years. So everyone's just might as well rebuild for the next few years, besides Cleveland.
And the Celtics.
Sure.
Corey, you and I talked a little bit about another point guard re-signing with New Orleans, and then I noticed a trade that happened within the last couple days. CJ Miles from Indiana going to Toronto for Corey Joseph. Is this just teams trying to get something of a point guard?
I think it was more moving money around. Like I said, I think a lot of teams are realizing they aren't one of those 3 to 5 teams that have a chance to compete. So it's moving money and looking for the future. That's kind of how the NBA is. I know that's why it doesn't have a huge fan base, because people say every year you can pick the 5 teams that have a chance. And it seems more so than ever this year. A lot of teams are feeling that way. So they're making moves looking into when Kevin Durant isn't on Golden State or LeBron's retiring.
Or when the Sixers start to dominate with their youth.
The Celtics made a big move. Stefan, want to tell us about it?
They signed my boy Gordon Hayward. He's coming from Utah. Got a max deal, 4 years, $128 million. Unfortunately, we had to lose Avery Bradley in the process, and I liked him a lot, but they've got enough young talent behind them that I think it'll be a good move in the long run. So they've still got some high draft picks coming their way to put even more good young talent behind them. I think they're set up pretty well for the future.
And Marcus Morris isn't a bad player.
No, not at all. I saw something. He has like some sort of court case or something he's got to deal with, I guess. So we'll see how that goes down, and maybe it will be a bad deal after all. I don't know. But then they also had to lose Kelly Olynyk, who I thought was a really good role player for them.
Yeah, he played for both those blankets behind you.
Yeah.
All right, and Lonzo Ball started his NBA in the Summer League. Struggled in the first game, had a triple-double in a second, and is now out for the third, injured. Do we care about the Summer League? Is this like a way to judge a way a player is going to be in the NBA, or is it like the NFL preseason and it's more for coaches?
I care a lot about the Summer League. I love watching it. I love watching them all play against each other. You're obviously not playing against the best of the best, so you're going to see some inflated numbers. But you can get a pretty good idea of how well a player is going to be, I feel like, by seeing how they perform in the Summer League. Markelle Fultz also shut down for the summer now with an injury. But I think Corey's bust has surprised quite a few people and how well he's played. I'm sure Corey's surprised by it as well.
Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
I knew he could score. I was waiting to see more. But I am surprised about him. He has way more explosion and quickness than I thought he had. So that could bode well for him. I think that the Summer League gives you a good idea of how naturally talented a player is, because there's no practices, so they aren't going to have good team chemistry. And like you said, they're playing normally around They're playing players that are around their caliber for the most part, except if a rookie is ready right away. You normally can tell that. Like my pick for Rookie of the Year, I don't know if you saw it, Stephen Dennis Smith Jr.
Yeah,
He
he
looked,
balled out the other night.
yeah, he looked very good. He looks like the real deal. I wouldn't be surprised if he only plays another game or so and they just shut him down just for injury concerns. I think, Kevin, who did you pick for Rookie of the Year? Jason Tatum, right?
Yes, you're bust.
Yep. And Stefan picked DJ Wilson, I believe. How's he doing for the Bucks, Stefan? How's he look?
I think he's padding the stats. I don't even know. I haven't even seen any of his stats, so he probably hasn't even played.
The buck stops here.
They've got some players in there, like Jaylen Brown should not even be in the summer league. I don't know why he's in there. He's obviously ready for he's going to take on a bigger role for the Celtics this year, and he's just dominating.
Same with the North Carolina kid, Bryce Johnson, is just balling in summer league.
I haven't even seen him.
He's on the Clippers, and the other one would be Brandon Ingram. Just looked phenomenal.
Yeah.
They shut him down already because he got hurt a little bit, so they decided to shut him down.
Yeah, I hope they shut down Jaylen Brown soon because he doesn't really need to be playing.
It does show you, though, what a 1 year of NBA experience does. All three of those players we named were rookies last year. So that's the other thing. Like Lonzo Ball not playing that well, if I was a Lakers fan, I wouldn't be too worried because after 1 year, you see what it can do and how well these other kids have developed and how much experience factors in and helps a player grow. So that's the only thing where I don't put too much stock in the summer league, but I do think it shows you some natural talent.
Cool.
Triple double is not bad in your second game either.
Still garbage.
All right. The other news I saw that was kind of interesting, Calipari is supposedly in talks with the Knicks for a brief minute, but he shut those down. But do you believe that Calipari is going to go back to the NBA, or do you think he's just going to stay put in Kentucky? Do you think it's going to take a scandal maybe at Kentucky to push him out to the NBA again, or do you think he's just going to stay put?
I think he's going to stay put because in college basketball, the top coaches are treated like gods. In the NBA, it's all about the players, and I think Calipari has an ego, and I think he likes being that big figure in college basketball, and he gets paid well. It's very similar to what an NBA coach gets paid, so why leave?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with what you said, Kevin. If a scandal or if he starts getting chased by investigators or whatever usually happens to him, that'll probably be his cue to get the hell out of Kentucky and maybe then take another shot at the NBA where he doesn't have to worry about that kind of shit.
Do you guys have any other NBA news you want to talk about? Take that as a no. All right. Your silence is deafening. Let's move on to UFC 213 that happened this past weekend. Did you guys happen to catch any of this action? Stefan, no? Okay, cool. Corey, I know you saw Romero, but I want to talk to you about Nunes versus Shevchenko. It was supposed to be the main event. It got canceled from the main event stage and pulled from the card hours before the fight was actually supposed to happen due to Nunes being sick. I believe it was sinusitis was the reason. And according to Dana White, Nunes was cleared medically. However, Nunes didn't feel right. White also claims she will never headline again because of this. Side note, just remember he also said this about John Jones, and 214 is headlined by who?
Daniel Cormier?
And John Jones. All right. Before I talk more about Nunes, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, yeah, I'm not even going to pronounce her name because I know I can't. The 150,
just JJ.
yeah, Joanna as everyone else calls her, or JJ as Corey likes to call her, offered to fight Shevchenko, I believe, at 125. However, it wasn't going to clear commission, so fight wasn't able to happen. But it was very interesting to see 2 hours, or essentially it was a 2-hour debate on whether or not it was actually going to happen, and the fact that it was considered. It's interesting to see what happens for the 125 division that's going to be happening, I believe, in January. They're going to end up wrapping up the season of The Ultimate Fighter and decide the champion. But maybe this is just a sign of things to come soon with Joanna and Shevchenko. If Shevchenko can drop from 135 to 125, that'd be interesting to see. I have Nunes's quote here, and actually, let's try reading some. Everyone is wanting to hear my side, so here it is. I have chronic sinusitis. I have fought with it before, but this time it hadn't worked out. During the weight cut, I was unable to breathe and felt off balance from the pressure in my sinuses. I was not feeling well enough to risk getting punched in the head with such pressure. I was taken to the hospital after weigh-ins, and they only checked my blood and dehydration, so cleared me based on that. The next day, I went back, and they did a CT scan and found a buildup, and I was prescribed antibiotics and referred to a specialist. I've never pulled out of a fight before. I'm sorry to all my fans that came out to see me. I'll make it up the next time I step in the cage. The fight is being rescheduled. I still want this fight. I still want this opponent. Thank you. I think it's bad on Dana White, and I'm getting really sick and tired of hearing him sit there and say that this person's not going to headline ever again because of incidents like this. The card actually ended up being quite entertaining, and I'll talk more about that after this. But it seems to be a trend that Dana White's just shitting on his fighters, and we talked about this with Ben last week, Corey. Maybe this is another reason why the fighters are leaving for Bellator. I mean, if you're not gonna want a quality product and you're too busy worrying about the names in your card, maybe this is just another step in the wrong direction for the UFC. I'm getting sick and tired of hearing Dana White sit there and say that, because I know for a fact Nunes is going to headline again, because she's the only other name really in the UFC other than McGregor, Jones, Cormier. I mean,
St. Pierre,
if he comes back, though. I mean, supposedly he tweeted out on Friday that he's going to be coming back and he wants Bisping, but Bisping's got another opponent that we'll talk about in a little bit. But, I mean, how about you just worry about your brand? And if one of your fighters feels like they're not going to give a good show, then you shouldn't be saying, well, that's it for you then. You don't have that you don't have that leverage anymore with Bellator on coming up on you.
It's her decision too, right? Because doesn't she ultimately lose out on all that money she was going to make?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I'm pretty sure since she dropped out and she was cleared medically, she doesn't get that money. So.
Yeah, in boxing, I know if you're sick and you pull out, then you just lost out. You don't get any money. It's over for you. So
it'll be interesting to see when. I think this fight will probably, since it was just like a sinusitis, it'll probably happen in September. Maybe even Anaheim. Stack that Anaheim card even more. Who knows if Nunes is going to be ready by then, but at the latest, September. The first fight we talked about last week was Travis Browne versus Olenek. And you picked Travis Browne.
I picked Travis Browne, and surprise, surprise, what happened?
Yeah. You said KO in the second round. I went with Olenek in the second round, or by decision, excuse me. And Brown looked outclassed and had no answer for Olenek and was submitted in the second round. This one thing I did agree with Dana White in the post-fight press conference is that Dana White said that he should probably retire after this fight. So we'll see if Travis Brown fights again in the UFC. 4 straight losses.
He'll go to Bellator.
Yeah, but I don't even know if Bellator wants him. 4 straight losses? What's he got to offer?
Ronda Rousey at the cage side.
That'd be kind of... You never see Ronda next to a ring ever again after that last loss. So, I mean, have we even seen her since?
Not even a wedding ring.
Have you even seen her since she got knocked out? Like,
She'll be back.
she'll another 2-year layoff and then come back.
He's all about the Rouse.
All right. The next fight was Pettis versus Miller. Corey and I picked Miller by decision, and it actually went to Pettis. Pettis was attacking well. He looked real well in all 3 rounds. His athleticism came out. He looked in great shape. He looked like the Pettis of old, not the 145 Pettis. So I think this weight class change back to 155, where he was champion, is a wise move for him because he looked good. He looked like he could go another 5 rounds. So.
Yeah, I saw some highlights because Pettis is one of my favorite fighters, so I was happy to be wrong on this fight. We talked about his athleticism and his explosiveness. Like you said, it looked like it was there. That was good to see. I'm excited for some fights that could be made with him in the future.
I have that Miller won early part of the second round, but Pettis came back later in that second round and pretty much gave him that unanimous 30-27 decision by all the judges. So, I mean, like I said last week, Miller's always going to give you a good show, and it definitely lived up to that. So I was not disappointed in watching that. All right, let's move on to the heavyweight division with Blades versus Omalanchik. Yeah. Can't even remember how to... Omalanchik. The guy that lost. How about that?
Yeah, doesn't matter. Blades won.
Blades won.
Blades.
We picked Blades. Didn't win by knockout, though, so this is his first fight that wasn't decided by knockout. And he looked a little rough around the edges, though. Blades did. He definitely looks like a guy that's only had 8 pro fights. And I mean, you're talking about he was facing a guy that has 40 or 30 fights under his belt. So it was a good kind of like way to gauge where he's at, but I'm looking forward to see him when he's got a couple more fights under his belt. He looked like a lot more training was involved, less weed smoking, and he definitely looked in really good shape physically. And he was also lucky he had a good ref in the ring because there was a couple accidental kicks below the belt, and after the second time, the ref stopped him and basically explained to him like, hey, I can't tell you what to do, but you need to focus on your target more. And after that, there was no more incidents. So I can't remember which ref it was. It wasn't one of the top 2 that I can think of off the top of my head, but I do like the guy's reffing style. I didn't know, speaking of refs, I didn't see Yamasaki or whatever his name is in the ring at all this week. So I'm wondering if he went on vacation or maybe a suspension after the last fight that he blew.
He needs some a much needed vacation. Let's go that way.
There you go. Yeah. Well, no. Probably one of the few things I agreed with Dana White lately. So, all right, let's move on to the other heavyweight fight: Verdum versus Overeem. Overeem won in a controversial decision. Verdum landed 107 strikes, 49 significant over Overeem's 29 and 21 significant. I gave Verdum the first and third round and Overeem the second round. I gave the first because Verdum looked good. Overeem was too busy looking for a counter and Verdum wasn't really giving him that opportunity. And then in the second round, Overeem had great takedown defense. He looked a lot more active. He was landing a lot in the second round. Most of his lands came in the second round. And then in the third round, both fighters looked exhausted. I mean, you're talking about 265 plus pounds of man meat pressing up against each other.
Weight class?
What's that?
So Stefan's weight class.
Yeah. And
Pure man meat.
pure man meat. Verdum stunned Overeem mid-round with a big knee to the chin. I mean, I scored it 2 rounds to 1, and the officials, one scored it 28-28, another one scored it, and then the other 2 scored it 29-28, giving Overeem majority. This was highly controversial. You picked Overeem by knockout as well as I did, I believe, Corey. So
I can't remember what you did. Yeah, I know we picked a lot of the same thing.
Yeah, I picked Overeem by knockout. I know that. I have that written down, but I didn't write down yours. I forgot. I picked the same. Yeah, I believe we agreed on that one, but I don't think he won this fight. It worked out for me, I guess, but it'll be interesting to see what happens with Overeem if he gets another shot at Miocic, because that was a 1-3 contender fight.
I think he will. I mean, you hate to think that the judges are shady or anything, but I think the UFC is pushing Overeem. I think, like we talked about with Stars, he's a recognizable name that the fans still remember and know. I think that sets up a good title match for the UFC, a very marketable fight.
I mean, it's going to be probably, I believe Miocic has a fight in September, so it'll be early next year at the earliest if it happens between the two. All right, and then, I don't have my sound clip pulled up, sorry.
Okay, Jesus, people. No.
So, my favorite, and I think it was unanimously Yoel, our favorite fighter, Corey and Ben. Stefan, I don't know if you know who Yoel is.
No, I don't.
Well, he is a 40-year-old Cuban that is made of granite.
I'm looking at him right now. He looks pretty fucking solid.
However,
Fucking for 40 years old. That's what I want to look like at 40 years old.
yeah. I mean, it was fight of the night. However, Whitaker beat Romero by decision. Basically, Romero won the first 2 rounds. Whitaker took the last 3. See if I have... I wrote these notes last night, so I have a hard time remembering what I wrote down. It was a great back and forth 5th round, but I think Whitaker took the 5th round because Romero looked like he was wobbled because of how tired he was. And in the last minute 30, Whitaker delivered a good ground and pound game. And I think that was enough to give him that edge to give him the win in the scorecards. This now makes Whitaker the longest active winning middleweight at 7 in a row in the UFC. Whitaker actually won the fight after getting a hyperextended knee in the first round. So, according to Whitaker, he had an injury in training camp, thought it was 100%, and then Yoel went right for it. And he was in pain most of the fight, and he disguised it quite well. I'm definitely a fan of Whitaker, especially considering who he's going to face next, which is Michael Bisping. In that interesting press conference, I'm so sick of Bisping now. It's like, did you see that, Corey? What?
I did not see the press conference, no. I saw the fight, My only comment would be is I was really impressed by Whitaker because I knew what Romero brought to the table. And like I had mentioned last week, I knew Whitaker had done well against a athletic fighter when he beat Uriah Hall, highly of. And then to do so again, now I'm very impressed with what Whitaker can do. It proves it wasn't a fluke. He's the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he walks right through Bisping. I'm with you. I can't stand him. I haven't been able to stand him ever since The Ultimate Fighter way back when he was a coach. So I'm just not a fan of the guy.
I saw the post-fight, and because it's for the interim belt, they put the belt on him, and then Bisping took his belt and threw it on the ground next to Whitaker and said, "I'm disgusted. You can have this belt. We'll fight for the real one later." Like, you can't be disgusted because you never defended your belt in the first place. So defend your belt and then maybe be disgusted that someone else is taking it. Like, give me a fucking break. I'm just so it's just Bisping. I fight for a change and then talk some trash. How about that? Stefan, any comments about UFC 213?
No, not really.
All right, UFC 214 is coming up. I'm working on seeing if I can get something from Ben before we have that preview. I believe I said July 24th. So July 24th will be our preview of UFC 214. Go check out UFC.com right now. They have a cool little promo for the John Jones Cormier. It gave me chills. I'm excited. I hope. Although I did text Corey last week that my percentage of the fight happening has gone down from 65%. It's actually worked its way down from. I told Corey 60. It's now 50% because Cormier is starting to talk trash on Instagram, and Jones is posting on Instagram and Snapchat again. So, God help us all if this fight actually falls through again. I might just stop following MMA.
Oh, now you sound like Dana White, making promises he won't cash in on.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Speaking of cash, we have a price for the McGregor-Mayweather fight, finally. That was announced 2 hours ago.
Ooh, what is it? I haven't heard yet.
Ooh, all right. So, for the HD quality stream from your pay-per-view source, it's going to be $99.95, unlike the guess we had where it was going to be $130.
Yeah, same as Pacquiao fight then.
Mm-hmm.
Pacquiao-Mayweather.
Standard definition is going to run you $89.95 if you're looking to save $10. And
which
quality.
No one does.
No one cares. They also announced their world tour press conference.
If I wasn't having a baby when they were coming to Brooklyn, I was going.
Starting tomorrow at the Staples Center in LA, going to Toronto the next day, Barclays Center, as Corey just said, July 13th, and ending in London July 14th. I believe there was 90,000 tickets sold. So, does Mayweather understand that Ireland is right next to England? Like, why would they book this press conference in London? Like, why? All those Irish fans. Oof.
I think Mayweather welcomes that. He has a huge English following. He beat their number one fighter in the early 2000s, a guy by the name of Ricky Hatton, who went into the ring at 40-0. Mayweather knocked him out, famous knockout. He headbutts the turnbuckle and then goes out cold. It's one of Mayweather's last knockouts, so it's been that long. But ever since that fight, he started to get a big following over there. He loves it over there. He did an interview over there where he just sat down in a chair over in London, kind of like McGregor did. Do you remember when McGregor had the hour-long interview special?
On pay-per-view, yeah.
Yeah, yes. Mayweather's was free, but same thing. He did the same thing.
Well, I watched it for free illegally online, if that makes you feel better.
So did I.
Corey and I'm actually going to spring this on you. Me and you are going to have to come up with a unique bet that we can do live on air. And I think I have something in mind, and we'll discuss it when I come to town. I do want to have an over-under. How many times does either fighter lose their cool during these press conferences?
It's so hard to judge that with McGregor. He's always on like level 10. I don't know where his losing his cool is. Is that when he throws something?
Well, I would say standing up. How about that?
Yeah, I would say anytime he gets out of his seat,
Yeah.
that's losing his cool.
All right. Then I'm going to say out of the whole tour,
The whole tour, all 4 days.
I think he will 2 times. And I think Mayweather will 0.
Stefan, you want to throw a number out?
I'll go with 3 on McGregor, 1 on Mayweather.
I'm going to go 0-0. I think it's going to be very calm, cool, collected by both fighters. I think neither fighter is they're going to talk shit, no doubt, but I don't see any monster energy cans or water bottles being thrown. I don't see Conor standing up, and I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how McGregor, because half of McGregor's fight is psychological, so it's going to be interesting to see what he does to Mayweather, 'cause I don't think Mayweather really cares. So it's not like Aldo, where Aldo had a lot to lose. Mayweather doesn't have any belts. There's no belts. It's just for that 50-0. And
it's to pay off his taxes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that.
I did see that. Did you want to talk about that?
So Mayweather is well behind on he was audited by the IRS for his 2015 tax return, and he has asked the IRS to grant him the next few months so he can make all this money off the fight and then pay them with it. So all in all, the truth has come out why Mayweather unretired, basically, is he was behind in money.
Doesn't he love showing off his money too?
Yeah, so does 50 Cent, but he went bankrupt, so I don't believe anything anymore.
I was going to say, can he sell some of these assets that he has, or are they all leases?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he's not broke. I'm sure he just doesn't want to cough up the money. So he probably just... That's why I don't think he'll get the favor unless Vegas gets involved. Because last time they got involved and pleaded that Mayweather was able to do the fight because of how economically valuable it was to their city.
Maybe that's why this fight didn't struggle in negotiations. This was a pretty easy negotiation, considering how long it took for like Mayweather-Pacquiao.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mayweather was much more desperate for the money this go-round. And maybe, I mean, we don't know who was asking for what. Maybe McGregor wasn't asking for much.
Maybe.
I mean, in the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight, Pacquiao was asking for the same. And Mayweather's never going to give somebody... It's never going to be 50-50. Everything won't be even. So, I mean, Pacquiao wanted his name to be first on the poster, coming down to really, really stupid stuff. I don't think McGregor cared about that stuff.
I just want it to be August 26th already.
I do have some inside information. You know, I love boxing. McGregor's been having some professional boxing sparring partners. A fighter with not much experience, not a big name, but he did publicly say that McGregor's power is extremely impressive, and his awkward movement, because of his MMA background, he found troublesome, and he could see Mayweather maybe struggling with that. So he could just be hyping the fight. He could be told to say that stuff coming out of the McGregor camp, but it made me a little bit excited. At least a professional fighter now has tasted the power, and it might be real. Mm-hmm. So if it's real, that makes me a little more interested.
I'm a little scared though because I've also heard McGregor's sparring a lot, which isn't good for the noggin.
If you follow his Twitter, he apparently is. That's all he's posting is pictures of himself sparring these days.
So I'm a little nervous because if he sustains anything, especially with it being a month and a half away, kind of scared. Not gonna lie. All right. Wimbledon, Corey's land of expertise, is coming down to the quarters and semis, with today having a nice little upset in the men's division with Nadal losing
To Mueller in 5. And when the 5th went into, what tennis's version of overtime. I believe it was 13-11 in the 5th.
It ended 15-13.
15-13, okay.
And wasn't he your favorite to win it?
Federer was, but
Federer.
Nadal I thought was having a great season. I mean, he still did. He got into the final 16 of the tournament, but having been to the finals of both the previous 2 slams, there was no arguing. He was playing the best this year, so that's a huge win for Mueller.
And then
Federer walked right through his opponent, and his opponent was a top 15 player.
Dimitrov, 6'4", 6'2", 6'4".
Yeah, Federer is. I don't even know what to say about his greatness anymore. Honestly, he's the Jordan of tennis, if you will. Had to use the Michael Jordan's name this podcast.
Well, we were gonna make it.
There we go. There it is. Murray won 7-6, 6-4, 6-4 today. Who are we looking at in the finals on Sunday, I believe?
Yeah, it'll be Sunday.
Still going Federer?
I'm looking at Murray, Federer now at this point.
All right. And then on the women's side, Venus Williams won 6-3, 6-2. Halep won 7-6, 6-2. I'm not even going to pronounce this American's last name. Van de Weyck.
Coco Van de Weyck. Yep.
Also won today, and the number 1 seed lost 6-4, 4-6, 4-6 to
Muguruza.
Muguruza. I like these names. These are easier than the MMA ones.
Muguruza made it to the finals last year, so her beating the number 1 seed wasn't a huge shock. Women's tennis is a very narrow margin from the number 1 player to the 20th player, so anyone can win. My pick was Halep. She's still alive. She looked good. She actually beat my dark horse earlier with Azarenka. So I think Halep's still poised to win. I won't be surprised if it's Muguruza versus Halep in the final.
What do you think Venus's chances are?
I'm actually shocked at the kind of tournament she's having. I don't know how many, if you guys know all her off the field issues or off the court issues. I
recently saw a video of her off the court. So.
She's held her mental game together, which I can't imagine whether she's guilty or not or whatever. I couldn't imagine killing somebody and then trying to play a slam. So
less than a month later.
Yeah. She's doing well. I think she's one of the greatest grass players ever as far as females. So her chances are high. But I don't know. I guess I'm just shocked right now that she's even this far. I really thought that would all wear on her mentally and we wouldn't be talking about Venus.
It's interesting to hear her name. I mean, years later, still being relevant this late in the stage. I know she usually wins with her sister in the doubles, but typically don't hear her name in these majors.
You really only hear it come this tournament. Just every year at Wimbledon, she plays well. She's just one of those grass court players.
So just thinking randomly, is Sharapova done with her suspension yet?
Yes.
All right. She just wasn't qualified. That's right. I think we talked about this at the beginning of the Wimbledon. And moving on to our final subject of the day, U.S. in the Gold Cup. U.S. drew against Panama 1-1 after Dwyer scoring in his second goal in his second game in the U.S. jersey. Unfortunately, the midfield was the complaint of pretty much everyone on the U.S. team. There wasn't a lot of action made by the midfield, so Panama was able to make it a draw. I believe Corey and I picked U.S., but I believe we also said that it was going to be interesting to see with the recent history between them and Panama. So not too big of a surprise. In the other game, Martinique beat Nicaragua 2-0 in that group. On Friday, French Guiana, or however you want to pronounce FG.
French Kitty.
I'm going to say FG because it's fun. Lost to Canada 4-2. And Honduras lost to Costa Rica 1-0. And then on Sunday, Mexico won 3-1 versus El Salvador. And I believe actually we both picked that score. And Jamaica won 2-0 over Curaçao.
We were both pretty confident that Jamaica and Mexico were going to handle their business.
Yeah. And then play resumes tomorrow with Costa Rica versus Canada. I'm going to look at Canada struggling against Costa Rica and probably losing a real close one, 1-0, just because of the way Costa Rica is and the way Canada is. I did say they had Larin, good young if he can produce for their Canada, I see them keeping it interesting. Canada's been turning a corner with their soccer program, and it'll be interesting to see. I do recommend watching that game, just basically a scale of where Canada is with the world, seeing how I believe they're not even in the World Cup qualifying. And do you guys want to throw a pick out, or?
I'm going with Canada with the upset 1-0.
Ooh.
Corey,
Ooh.
shocking pick of the day.
I'll
Stefan?
take Costa Rica 1-0.
All right, and then in the later game, it's Honduras versus French G. I'm going to go with Honduras 2-0 because I know nothing about French G, and just because they aren't exactly a well-developed soccer team. Stefan?
What the hell is French G even stand for? What is that?
French Guiana. Here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll go with Honduras.
Did you say 3-0?
Yeah.
Okay. Corey, making it unanimous?
No, I'm going with French G. You guys don't know how well their program is developing. They're on the rise.
Oh yeah, how do you pronounce their G?
I don't know. They're going to win 2-1.
All right, and then Wednesday is the next time the U.S. play, and it's against Martinique. Depending on who starts, I can see this being anywhere from 2-1 to 3-0. I'm going to go with 3-0 just because I'm a proud American.
I'm going to go with 2-0. Proud American.
And Stefan?
I'll go with the 1-1 draw.
Ooh,
Wow, not a proud
sneaky.
Someone's communist in this room. All right, moving on to the game beforehand, Panama and Nicaragua. I'll let you guys pick first.
I like Panama. 2-0.
Damn it. That's my pick too. Same score. Stefan?
Nicaragua. 1-0.
No draw, huh?
Just for Americans, apparently. Thursday, El Salvador versus Caraco. Stefan, why don't you make a pick first?
Who was it again?
El Salvador versus Caraco.
Oh, Krakow sucks. So we'll go El Salvador.
I didn't realize El Salvador was known for their soccer either, but okay.
El Salvador.
This is a battle for last place, FYI.
1-0. 1-0.
Corey?
I'll go with the Dirty Salvadors. 2-0.
I will go with the 0-0 draw.
Probably the most realistic score.
All right, and then the last game of that night is going to be Mexico versus Jamaica. This is going to determine who finishes in first place, in my opinion. It's going to be a nice. This is the game of the group stage, I think, because it's going to place two top 40 teams in the FIFA rankings versus each other. And I will take. It depends on who Mexico starts, because right now their first string players are on vacation after playing in Confederations Cup. I don't know who's going to be back for this game. Let's go a 1-1 draw. Let's go Corey next.
Jamaica with a surprise score of 3-1.
And Stefan.
Mexico 2-1.
All right, and Friday begins game 3 for all the teams with Costa Rica versus French G. I see French G losing 2-0 and being eliminated from the tournament. Who wants to go first?
Go ahead, Stefan.
No, you go, Corey.
Ugh. I guess since I haven't picked a draw yet, I'll go 1-1.
And Stefan.
I'll go 0-0 draw.
Costa Rica's pretty good, you guys. Jeez. Canada versus Honduras. Does Canada make it into the playoff stage of the tournament?
Yeah, 1-0 Canada.
That was pretty confident.
It's because I love Drake.
Stefan?
It was Canada versus Honduras, that you said?
Yeah.
Go Honduras 2-0.
Stefan, are you sleeping?
Yeah.
All that working out. Stefan went 2-0 Honduras.
This is me during watching a soccer game as well.
I'm going to go 2-1 Canada. And then on Saturday, Panama versus Martinique to round up that, or to start the day off. Decisions. I'm going to go Panama. Did I pick them earlier? Yes. I'm going to say Panama is going to win the group and win the game 3-0. That's 0 for you non-tennis folk. Corey?
Panama 2 bagel. That's a
And-
0 for you non-bread eaters.
And Stefan?
Well, I don't have any cool lingo that you guys are clearly showing off right now, but let's say 1-1 tie. You know, that thing you wear with a suit, I guess.
I mean, you could have said, like,
Donut.
Egg.
I don't eat donuts anymore, Corey.
What about eggs?
Dewey eggs.
All right, and the U.S.'s last games against Nicaragua, and once again, it's going to come down to who starts up front. Hopefully, Dwyer's still playing up front for the U.S. team, and I will pick them to. No, hold on. 3-1 U.S. because America. Corey?
1-0 America.
America. Stefan.
I'm a terrorist. 2-1.
2-1 Nicaragua.
Yep.
Just wanted to make sure. And then to end the group stage games, it's
You
Jamaica
could have been a domestic terrorist, Stefan. Jeez.
from within.
Just straight up terrorist.
Battle
Wherever.
from within.
Be domestic or international. It don't matter. It's a straight up terrorist.
Is that your alias when you
It is.
do MMA?
This
It's not even a
podcast.
funny thing to joke about, but
This podcast. If Stefan's gone, we know why. It's just watch
Yeah.
this podcast.
that means the government really is watching us if I'm
I
gone.
mean, you have a beard.
Yeah,
You're kind of
that's
sketchy.
what I was gonna say. Corey, me and you are on the same brain wavelength. It seems like lately. Jamaica versus El Salvador. Who wants to pick first?
Me, Jamaica, 3-0. Cool Runnings. Love that movie.
Cool Runnings.
That was terrible.
Stefan.
Jamaica 1-0.
You do it better then.
Absolutely not.
Going 3-1 Jamaica.
What do they say? Boom boom clap.
And then Mexico versus Morocco. Terrorist, you go first. I think if we say terrorist enough, they actually will pay attention to this video.
Maybe.
It's like saying bomb on an airplane.
They say Mexico 4-0.
Whoa. Whoa.
Corey?
Mexico, 2-0.
Better think quick, bitch. Try to figure out another way to say 0.
3-0 Mexico. I'm not going to be
Yeah.
creative.
Copycat.
3-0. How about that? All right.
That's of course. You literally just stole mine, and then you stole his. You didn't do anything.
I am tired. Leave me alone.
Oh shit! That whole last segment right there was ugly shit.
Thought it was pretty ethos.
You got Corey.
You guys are my MVP.
All right, so next week we have quite the show ahead of us. We have the Nobodies. We have the British, or excuse me, I was corrected. It is not the British Open, it is the Open Championship because it doesn't always take place in Great Britain or Britain, whatever. I was corrected.
It can be great. It can be great.
Can be great. I forgot what else we're talking about, but we have a lot to talk about. We'll be talking about the Wimbledon's final that Stefan's going to watch.
He probably will.
I actually love watching tennis way more than soccer, so you'll definitely catch me watching tennis.
Kevin, if you're around Saturday night and you're not working, there is 2 really entertaining boxers on Fox. So it's on regular TV. Omar Figueroa versus Robert Guerrero. Robert Guerrero is a former welterweight champion, a former opponent of Floyd Mayweather. He also fought the current recognized welterweight champion Keith Thurman. He lost to both, but he gave good efforts. Omar Figueroa is a young up-and-comer, so it's kind of his showcase fight against an old, weary vet. Fight at 147, so is he going to bite off too much or not? We'll find out on Fox at 9 o'clock Eastern time.
Is he going to bite off too much what? Ear? Going to bite off an ear?
Too much that he can chew. Or
Mike Tyson style?
yeah, like think arm, not a ear. Just way too much.
This podcast not sponsored by Fox Broadcasting.
Or Mike Tyson.
Not forget Jesus, people.
All right. Stefan, do you have a top 5 for us?
Oh, I get thrown in at the end here?
Oh, you
Yeah,
didn't
there's
you
10
didn't let
minutes
me
left.
know if you had like a top 5, so
No, I don't have a top 5. I actually didn't even think about it till like 5 minutes ago.
it's the spirit.
There you go. Here's a top 5. Top 5 tennis players. And women combined.
Just ever. So all three of us do it like
Current players. Current players.
Oh, I was gonna say,
okay.
what about top 5 should have been tennis players? I bet you I could guess who's the number 1 on that list.
What do you mean should have been?
Yeah, I'm confused by this topic.
Like famous, but not number 1 at all.
Oh, like number 1 is going to be that hot blonde girl that you probably Kornikova.
There you go. All right, so top 5 current tennis players. Stefan, I'd be amazed if you knew 2.
Well, he probably knows all of them.
I can name a lot more than you can think. I can name a lot.
We're doing the
Wow.
top 5, both men and women, though. Like accomplishments, or
Wait, time out. Kevin, me and you, let's go back and forth naming tennis players right now.
Okay.
Ready?
Who's starting?
All right, you can start.
Nadal.
Okay. Federer.
Okay. Venus Williams.
Djokovic.
Sharapova.
Serena Williams. Could have just gone with the sisters.
Andy Murray.
Fucking Milo Raonic.
ooh, obscurity.
Dimitrov.
Justin Brown.
Mueller.
He's nobody's fool. He's naming people who just played.
All right. Anyway.
Azarenka. I'm still going.
Oh, we're still
You
going.
done? You
Kerber.
conceding? You can concede if you want. Who?
Kerber.
Kerber?
Angelique Kerber.
Kerber. Halep.
I just said that.
You never said Halep.
I didn't? Oh, all right. Well,
No. Did
Azarenka.
you say Halep?
Did we
I don't
say
think-
I already
Azarenka? I lost track of who we said already. Azarenka.
That's part of the game. That's part of the game. I already said Azarenka.
Vanderway.
Coco. Okay. You said Sharapova, right?
Yeah.
We did. Oh.
What about your favorite male tennis
I
player?
know. Fucking Simone, right?
Simone.
No, but that is a player.
Yeah.
Muguruza.
Yep.
Petrova.
Maybe I'll
No?
see you guys next week.
All right, let's get to top 5.
All right, top 5. Coming in at number 5 will be a 1, Mr.
Is this the 5th best?
5th best, yeah.
All right.
So we'll see how Corey likes these. I'm going to go with Andy Murray, number 5.
5? The current number 1?
Yeah.
5. Okay.
What's he done lately? Has he won anything lately? No. Has he? You don't even know. You're just throwing shade at me right now. You don't even know what the fuck you're talking
No, you're
about.
just cutting in and out, so I can't really hear you.
Number 4, we'll go for Serena in there. Number 4. I think she's better than Andy Murray. Why not? She could beat Andy Murray 1-on-1.
You're putting her at 4 though.
Yeah, dude, the men are so much better. I love Serena, but she's not fucking returning serves.
This shouldn't be a head-to-head type situation. This should be.
But it is.
But well, then Serena shouldn't be number 4. She should be number 5.
No, she could beat Andy
Didn't
Murray.
you just hear McEnroe say that she couldn't beat the top 900 players on the men's tour?
Yeah, because McEnroe's an idiot. He got forced into saying that because that's just what they do. Number 3, we'll go with the ever-aging Roger Federer.
Number 3?
Yeah, that's what I said. Number 3, Federer. Come at me, bro. Act like I don't know fucking tennis. Okay.
You should go
He's the
at him
greatest
right now.
player ever.
Okay, we're talking about currently. Is he currently the greatest player right now?
Maybe. He
Maybe.
He's
Maybe.
still playing.
Maybe. Time out. You said maybe. So you're
He's
not
still
even sure that
playing.
he's the greatest player right now. So don't fucking come at me with this. Oh, number 3 was. No, shut the fuck up.
He's still playing though.
Okay, but is he currently the best player? Corey says maybe. If he was so fucking sure, then he would be
I
like,
thought
yeah,
this
he is.
was
No,
currently
he's not.
the greatest active player.
Greatest active player, yes.
He still has 2. Go ahead. Go 2 more current ones
Yeah.
better than him.
Corey's got to go. soon.
Djokovic, number 2. Djokovic, number 2. Nadal, number 1. There you have it.
Even though Nadal
Top
just
5.
lost.
Okay, but he won the last 2 Grand Slams or whatever. Yeah.
Well, he went to the finals in both, yeah.
Okay.
I like Corey.
Obviously, I
and
only have a problem with one of those, but
Corey and I are both like sunken down. Stefan's like, yeah.
he's very proud of his list.
It's good to be
Feel good
proud
about
of
it.
your work.
I would just knock down Djokovic 1 and knock down Nadal 1 and put Federer at number 1. And Slam this year, and he won it. He didn't play in the French, so you can't say Nadal's better because they didn't get to play each other. Not that I think he would have beat Nadal on clay, but that's neither here nor there.
It's not my fault that Federer was a pussy and didn't play the fucking French.
And now he's healthy and he's back and he's balling out at Wimbledon too.
He won't even make the championship game at Wimbledon.
I don't even know what to bet on that.
Love it. I'll bet.
Corey, you gotta be
I'm gonna-
careful with your bets because you're supposed to be.
Listen.
Corey's supposed to be our NASCAR expert, and he's not in first place. So everything Corey says about tennis, how am I supposed to believe this?
Exactly. Corey's just fucking blows himself up like he's fucking expert of everything. So if he doesn't make the championship, then you have to spot me a set the next time we play tennis.
All right,
I'm already up 1-0.
done.
Is that our next We Might Know Sports challenge? Is tennis?
Yeah, we've been supposed to play, but we just haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah, we still have to play basketball too.
Yeah, that too. That Kevin so valiantly tried to beat me.
All right, that's it for today's podcast. Look forward to seeing you guys next week. If you're listening to this for the first time on iTunes, thanks. Thanks for tuning in. We had a couple new viewers on Facebook. Thank you if you're still watching. I don't know. I can't tell if you're still watching. I just know if you're watching. Kind of creepy. Corey, as always, a pleasure.
Never a chore.
Stefan, thank you for showing up for today's podcast and coming up with that amazing top 5 on the fly. Highly debatable. We always like debates.
You can debate it anytime. I don't care.
I don't even care. All right. Tune in next week. The Nobodies.
Hey, just throwing it out there before we leave. When are we going to go over all the black athletes all the way to number 1?
When they
Has that
release
list
the
been
list.
revealed?
I haven't even heard anything more about it. So
I looked it up. There was no list reveal yet, so
Okay.
that's why it's still on the July list and not officially on a podcast. So
Okay.
stay tuned, folks.